After 2 years of converting our tin can into a tiny home on wheels, we're finally finished. So here is the long-awaited van tour.
This is our 2015 L4H2 Citroen Relay. We bought her back in 2021 and we've been roughly converting it for 2.5 years part-time, as we both have been working full-time jobs. So now let's get into the front and we'll move backwards over to Laz.
At the front, we've removed the bulkhead so it gives us more space, and we converted both of the seats to swivel seats, and we removed the double seat so we can walk through. Originally, we only swiveled one of the seats and we had this one fixed, but we quickly realized that having the back seat here all the time is a bit annoying and it closes this space up, so we did convert this one as well. For blinds, we went with the Remus cab blinds that are quite nice because you can quickly close them and open them. Originally, we had an exterior blind, which we'd still have, but it has its upsides and downsides. Upsides, it insulates better, but if it's really windy it can flap around a bit and it can be noisy, and we had a few problems with it when we were in Scotland. It almost blew away. So at the end we gave in and we dished out for the really expensive Remus blinds.
And moving on from the cab area, we come to our dining area, or as we like to call it, the cosy spot. So we obviously converted the captain's chair, which becomes one seat, and then we come to our other seat, which houses our combi diesel heater, which heats our water and also is our main source of heating for when it is cold. Also on the outside of this box, we've got a USB 12-volt socket and a double plug for the 230-volt socket. Underneath the table we've got storage for all of our shoes. We did used to just have them chucked under here, but it became really messy chaos, so it's just quite nice to keep them tucked away. Under this step we've got the water pump and any ducting for the heating vents, because we've got one here and one that comes out under the seat. We chose to raise this for two main reasons. One, to house all of that stuff, but also there was a step already from the cab and it just made it nicer to raise this up so your feet are at both the same levels. Moving above the dining area, we've got 3 overhead storage cabinets which houses coffee, cereal, pasta, sauces, anything that we need on a day-to-day basis. All of the interior, we decided to go for this charcoal grey linen effect, which I custom made. The curtains are like so. Move these little guys. Got the linen effect on one side, and for the 2 main windows we decided to use the blackout just for added insulation and to keep out the light. And then to keep them tied back, we just have got these poppers, tie back poppers that match back and keep like that.
Moving on from the seating area, we have our shower, but before we get to the shower we have this main wall which houses some of the plumbing and stuff that goes into the shower, so it's a double wall. In that we also have our thermostat for our diesel combi heater, so we can set when we want hot water or what temperature we want the heater to be on, and also what time we want it to come on, which is super handy. When it's cold we can just set to 20 degrees for 7 o'clock in the morning, or whenever we wake up, and we wake up nice and toasty. It also has our switch for the pump, which is handy, so the pump is not on all the time in case we have a water leak. It's not going to flood the van, so normally we just have the pump off when we don't use the water. Behind the seating area we have our full-size shower, well, full-size for a van, and it also houses our toilet. We went with this full sliding door because we didn't want to close the van up with a hard wood, because then when you're moving around you're constantly bumping up against it, whereas this way plenty of wiggle room to move around, and when you're in the kitchen you can stretch out and you're not constantly bumping up against the shower door. Moving into the shower we have our Simplu composting toilet. It's probably one of the best decisions we made when we were researching and building out the van, that we went with a composting toilet instead of a chemical toilet. We spoke to loads of people who have had chemical toilets and then they converted to composting toilets. They're great because you can pretty much empty them anywhere, and we haven't had any issues with it so far at all. It has a ducting and a fan that goes to the outside of the van, so that helps reducing the smell, and it hardly smells at all anyway. Where the ducting is on the side of the van, we had to box that in to make sure that it's waterproof, and we added a little hatch that gives us some extra storage space for toilet roll and any other bits and bobs that we can keep in there. For the shower, we used some standard black controls and a head, which look quite nice with the rest of the theme of the van, which is black and white details and some dark wood. And we also added some little hooks and stuff that hold the towels or anything else that needs drying. Because the shower takes up quite a lot of room, we wanted to give it an extra purpose as well, so we ran the heating ducts from the diesel heater into here, which turns into a nice little drying room. So when our clothes get wet or our jackets get wet when it's raining, or we go snowboarding and we need to dry stuff out, you can throw everything in here, turn the heater on, and it dries stuff out really quickly.
So now moving on to the other side of the van, we come to our kitchen, which is actually probably the most counter space we've had in any house or flat we've lived in because of this extension. Now we've got this extension because we bought 3 meters of worktop. Now from the kitchen worktop and the table on the dining space, we had this amount left over, which worked out perfectly. We didn't have to do any extra cuts, and also it acts as 2 purposes for us. We use it as our washing up area or our drying up area, and also another form of a table space. So first up in the kitchen is our sink area. We've got a black granite sink from IKEA. We've got our main water tap, which has 2 functions. It has a sprinkler function and a standard function. It also comes out on the nozzle. And we've got a filtered water tap and a soap dispenser. Next up in the kitchen, we've got our 2-burner induction hob. Then we've got all of this counter space, which is great for when we have the Ramoska out and just general food prep. We decided to go for 20mm walnut worktop. We saved on weight a bit by not getting the 28 or the 40mm. We then got the matching upstand that just runs along the edge of the kitchen. Just above, we've got stick-on tiles. And then, as you can see, for the Ramoska, we need a 230 plug socket. So we've got a double one here, which we can also use for different charging sources when we need extra counter space. So with the leftover upstand, we decided to use them as shelves at the front and at the back, which we'll show in a bit later. This actually comes in really handy to keep our keys, so we always know where they are, same as wallets and our little jellycat plant. So underneath the kitchen, we've got loads of storage, which is a bonus from not having a full-size oven, thanks to the Ramoska. Underneath the sink area, we've got just a fake drawer front, which hides the underneath the sink and any plumbing. We've then got 2 double doors, which houses bin, cleaning staff, extra food storage, hoover, stuff like that. We are going to do a section at the end of this video which we go through all of the cupboards for any nosy parkers out there. Me being one of them, I love seeing in van tours what's in every cupboard, so stay tuned. But for now, we're just going to go through the general layout. So next to underneath the sink, we've got underneath the hob, we've got 3 shallow drawers and 1 deep drawer, which houses predominantly kitchen and food stuff. Moving on, we've got 1 drawer above the fridge. We went for a 12-volt Dometic fridge, which has got a little freezer at the top, and it houses enough food for 2 of us for a week.
Moving on from the fridge area, we get to this little area. We thought it would be quite nice to break up the kitchen from the bed area, and it makes the bed area a bit more cozy as well. And this is where we house our control panel. So for the control panel, we are using a Victron Cerbo GX to monitor all our electrical stuff and our water. We have a more detailed video about all our electrical stuff when we've done the van build series, so go check that out if you're interested. Moving on from the Cerbo GX, we have a couple of switches to control things like turning on and off our Starlink because it's converted to 12 volt, dumping our wastewater because it's using an electric ball valve, and charging our starter battery as well. And we have a few extra switches for spares later on. Underneath our control panel area, we have 5 more drawers, 3 quite long ones and 2 a little bit shorter because the wheel arch box actually starts there. But this is where we keep all our medicines and little miscellaneous electrical bits and bobs, loads of little USB cables, SD cards and all that stuff. Above the kitchen and our control panel and the bed, all the way along, we have 5 overhead storage units. This is where we keep most of our clothes. And on the other side, behind the bed, we also have 3 more storage units.
On the other side of our electrical unit, which is exactly the same width, is our larder unit, which is broken up into 3 sections. The first section, which holds all of our spices and any canned goods. The second section, which holds all of our skincare and beauty bits, is great for when we are getting ready in the morning. It pulls out and it's the perfect height for when we're getting ready in bed. The third and final section is where we keep the sawdust for our compost and toilet. It's super convenient and it's really close for when we need to use it. It holds 30 litres of broken up sawdust and roughly lasts us about 2 weeks. Next we come to our bed, which is 185 centimetres long and 135 centimetres wide, which is just short of a double bed. Double bed is 190, so we're just 5 centimetres short. Laz literally fits in perfectly and he's 6'1". So got 2 little windows that open at the back, which have both got fly nets on, and the breeze that it creates through here when we've got the max fan on is great, and we don't need any other ventilation. Windows do also have little curtains at the back which match back to the curtains and the cushions at the front and the bed cushions. Again, they just tie up with the little poppers that are attached to either side of the wall. So for the back doors, we just covered it in white ply and we've carpeted it as well, just as extra insulation. We wanted the back doors to be more of feature walls, so this side's going to be from souvenirs we pick up on our travels, and this side we used the leftover upstand like we did at the front to create little shelves for little memorabilia and little personal touches. Another thing we love about our bed is that it doubles up as another seating area, just like so. Just joking, it's not that quick, but we love this space so much, especially if we're both working and we want 2 separate areas, or alternatively, if we want to keep that space clear for when we're eating and cooking food, it's great just to pop up. We've been on the road 7 weeks now and we've only had it up a couple times, but it's just great to have just in case we need it. What we haven't talked about is how we make up this U section. So each bench has 3 different sections. So you've got the electrical section in this side, the middle section, which is obviously only a portion of the whole bed, which is our laundry chute. And the third bench is for where we store all of our deep storage. So anything like snowboarding gear, any winter gear is all vacuum packed into this cupboard. We also have our 2 toolboxes for any stuff we need to do on the road. A few more points to mention at the back of the van is we've got our water hose and water fill up point, which is really accessible for when we are filling up. We also bought these great storage solutions from Amazon. We got 4 of them, and as you can see, they just house my books at the moment and all of the water hose connections. Also, out of the leftover of the carpet that we used for insulating the rest of the van, I made these 2 draft excluders for the back and also one at the front.
In the left hand side bench we have all our electrical stuff. We have a way more detailed video about all our electrical stuff already uploaded when we were doing the build video, so go check that out if you're interested. But as an overview, we have 400 amps of lithium, 800 watts of solar and a 2400 watt Victron inverter, Cerbo GX to monitor everything, and an Orion 30 amp battery to battery charger. We also have Starlink for internet, and we also have a 4G router with an external antenna for 4G internet as well, so we don't have to run our Starlink all the time to save some power. In the bed area we also have a double USB socket to charge our phones and stuff like that overnight, and underneath the table we also have a double 230 volt socket which allows us to charge laptops and so on when we are set up in table mode. Putting the table up and down is a bit of a faff, but we tried making our life easier by making the table leg electronically lifted or lowered, which makes life a lot easier when we were putting it up and down. And it's also in a swivel, so we can rotate it when we're getting in and out, or if we need it in a slightly different position. We made the cushions for the bed area very strategically, so the 2 thin slices that are in the middle of the bed, they actually become the backrest for the bench area when it's in table mode, and the backrest for the front seating area goes on top of the laundry chute when we are in table mode. So that pretty much wraps up the back. The only last couple of remaining things is the ceiling and the cupboard tours for you nosy lot. But before we get in there, the ceiling is using a PVC, wide PVC with some cool little wooden light texture on it, and we have a max air fan at the front. And on the sides in the bedroom we also use this PVC stuff. We use this because it's nice and bright. We wanted to keep the van fairly bright and not dark and gloomy, apart from the dark floor and the dark countertops. Another great thing about the PVC cladding stuff is that it's pre-finished, so you don't have to finish it. It's fairly easy to work with and it's super lightweight. That pretty much sums up the van build overview. If you guys want to know any more details, let us know in the comments. But we have made a build vlog series for most, maybe 3/4 of the van build, so if you're interested, go and check that out. If there is anything that's missing and you guys really want to know more info about, let us know in the comments, and hopefully we can make a video about it in the future. But for now, let's jump in to the cupboard tour for anyone else who wants to stay for that.
Let's have a look in the cupboards. First cupboard, we've got all of our sauces, any cooking equipment, salt, pepper and some pasta. Second one, we've got cereals. They are a bit random, but it makes sense for us on a day-to-day basis what we use mostly, except for the gin. I don't drink that on a day-to-day basis, but you get the drift as to what we're going on in here. Then we've got like our protein, vitamins and our kitchen roll that stays in here. Anything we kind of want when we're eating is what we put in these cupboards that's quick to get to. Moving on to underneath the kitchen, we've got these two cupboards, which houses a 30-litre bin with a main rubbish section and recycling section. Typically it's great for us maybe about a week's worth of rubbish, obviously depending on how much you have. Got a little basket above with all of our cleaning bits in. We've also got two more baskets here which have got any overstock of cereals, pasta, anything like that that can't fit in our containers that we've got in the overhead storage above the seating area. Next up, we've got our drawers. Drawer one, we've got all of our cutlery and a few cleaning bits at the back we use on a day-to-day basis, like anti-bac wipes, floor wipes, things like that. Cupboard two, we've got all of our bowls, plates, mugs, and we've got bread, wraps, storage for sugar, rice. Bowl three is where we keep all of our dry food storage. These little containers are great. So we got these from IKEA ages ago that we had been keeping clothes in for when we lived in houses, but they've just become really good for sectioning things off so it doesn't become a big jumbled mess. Finally, drawer four, which is our deep drawer, houses all of our pots and pans, our Mosca and anything big that doesn't fit in any of the other cupboards, our toasty maker, smoothie maker and all of our glasses and bottles. And finally, our last drawer in the kitchen section is our underwear and sock drawer, again all divided out into the IKEA storage units. Moving on to our next drawer section of the electrical cupboard. Drawer one is our medicine cupboard, which holds paracetamol, any pills, tissues, anything like that. We did get these great storage holders from B&M, which is actually only £2, and they literally fit as snug as a bug in here. So I recommend getting yourself down to B&M if you are doing a van, just measuring it before you go and having a look what you can find. Drawer two is a little bit of a miscellaneous drawer. We've got headphones, a games controller, hair clippers. Drawer three is where we hold all of our main electrical bits, so chargers, any USB cables, again in these storage holders, just so we know where they are at all times instead of it being a big jumbled mess in here. And then drawer four, we've just got bits for the GoPro, and then the last drawer just holds a bit of miscellaneous stuff. Coming over to our larder unit. Section one holds all of our tinned goods like pasta sauces, soup, beans. Then it holds like sweet corn, tuna, stuff like that. And then the bottom one is all of our spices. Section two, which is my favourite section, holds all of our beauty and skincare bits. Anything, again, we use on a more day-to-day basis. Toothbrushes, deodorant, skincare bits from me. One of my favourite things about this is our toothbrush holder. Now, we did just have these flinging around in here, but it became really annoying when we opened them. They kept falling out. So we 3D printed this little unit for it that just holds them perfectly. So we've got the retainers in there. Then we've got toothpaste. And then each of our toothbrushes fit in there really nicely. Again, more B&M storage units for my makeup-y bits. They're just really good and handy for keeping little odds and bobs in there that aren't just spread around, annoying lads by putting all my hair bubbles everywhere. Now they're all contained into these little sections. Then finally, this is where we keep our sawdust for our composting toilet. We have 8 overhead storage units in total. We tried to split it out where we've got 3 each. And the other 2 are mixed goods. We've got gym bits and stuff like that. Not the most organised, but it makes sense to us. So the first cupboard is where we've got gym bits, trainers, massage guns, where we just keep our candles because they fit. Then we've got Again, these little storage units from IKEA and Amazon, I believe, that just keeps like, all of bikinis, swimwear, and then all of Laz's workout clothes, and then like workout bands. Unit 2 is where I keep all of the bits that I use more frequently. So we tried to do it storage wise. So these 2 cupboards are things we use more frequently, like summer clothes, Laz's t-shirts, shorts, and where the underwear live as we get dressed here. So it makes sense that everything we need is right here, and all of the storage units at the back are stuff we don't need as frequently. This unit has got sports bras, my leggings and stuff. I do need to have a little bit of a reorganise now we're in a bit of a hotter climate, but it's all organised into sections: t-shirts, vests, and all of my leggings. Third unit is for Laz's bits. So at the moment he's got all of his t-shirts in this compartment, and then all of his shorts. For the fourth unit, which is my second cupboard, I've got all of my jumpers. I've got a few crafty bits at the bottom as well, and then I've got even more jumpers, cardigans, things like that. Finally, the fifth cupboard on this side and my final unit, I've got all of my jeans, all of my summer dresses, summer dungarees. Again, I might have a reshuffle and put some of these into my first cupboard, but at the moment it works well for me. Now we come on to our final lot of storage. So our first cupboard is Laz's second one with all of his hoodies and jumpers. Second unit on this side and Laz's third and final compartment is all of his jeans and trousers, jogging bottoms, pyjamas. And then finally we've got bed sheets, tea towels, extra bath towels, anything that we don't need so often, which is why it's right at the back of the van.
And that pretty much marks the end of our van tour. Yay!
We hope you guys liked it. We think we've covered everything. I'm sure there are bits that we've missed out, but please do leave any comments or questions below and we will get back to you. If you did want to know any more detail, like Laz said earlier, we do have some vlog conversions. We did stop at some points, but we've covered quite a lot of the details of it. But if you do want to see any more detailed like budget videos or anything like that, let us know below.
Don't forget to like
and subscribe.
and we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye! It's not miscellaneous bits. What is it? What is this called? Jellycat and Krabby, come along. Please leave us bits below.
I'm really licking my lips and stuff. Claim it with me.
Okay. That's the end of
Well,
our banter.
can I say something?
Yeah.
You meant to say stuff.
Oh!